Hi, guys. Welcome back to Transits and Tactics. An interesting transit now, and I'm so excited to talk about it because I know this energy really, really well. We are experiencing the solar transit in the gate 18, gate of correction. And the Earth is now in the gate of opinions, which sometimes makes this correction a little bit black and white, and a little extreme. So let's just have a look at what this gate of correction is. Like in Chinese interpretations in I Ching, it's called the gate fix what's spoiled. Is that's I think that the fixing of what is spoiled, and it's this really interesting sort of approach. What are we doing there? This is all about awareness, guys. This is about critical awareness and almost instinctual sense for when something is off. And there's a lot of things karmically speaking, that with every one of us here in human form is kind of off because, growing up, we're bound to take somebody's ways as our truth and, be conditioned by them, believe that they're ours and they're not. And that creates a lot of, destructive patterns or traumas that we carry. So what this gate does and what this period and this energy does is really helps you sense that this is something that needs to be improved. This is something that no longer serves you. This is something where this is the spoiled part, and now we can fix it. Now we can improve it. Now we can not blame ourselves. This is the lower. By the way, that can happen to you, that you can jump into blame and self-criticism and thinking that, everything is wrong in your life and it's your fault. But it really isn't, because your weaknesses are not your fault. Your weaknesses are just there so you can learn some lessons and they're okay. And so I think that this is the energy that gives us the strength to accept the weaknesses and start growing, because it's all about awareness. And it's not like this week something, drastically will happen and change in your life, but this is the aha moments. This is the awareness. This is where you get clarity or even just intuitively sense this needs to be worked on. And you can work on it later, because the awareness is the biggest step that we all take, when we from confusion and disbelief or just like hiding or denying something to actually clearly seeing and sensing that this needs to be changed. And it's a wonderful time because this also helps, as I said, release those childhood traumas and really, really accept that you can be better, you can be more, you can be at peace, you can be whatever you want to be. I actually have a lot of this energy. In fact, both of my Mercuries in my human design chart on design and the personality side are in gate 18, and the Pluto is also in gate 18 for me. So it's a lot. This is like a bigger spiritual path as well, all about clearing the childhood traumas. And I was preparing for this recording today, and I was thinking about this whole thing of how you grow up and what the world is teaching you. And for me, I grew up in a dysfunctional family where parents were arguing all the time, and I really probably were taught not to take authority at face value, challenge everything. Well, I'm also a third line, of course, I'm going to challenge everything, but fight in relationships, really emotionally unintelligent behavior. And that's the opposite to what I am now. I had this conversation with my husband today because I am really, really mature when it comes to relationships and confrontations in them. I just don't fall into those wounded spaces anymore. And I think that this is exactly what this gate in my own design is showing, because there was distinct times in my life when I said, no, this is it. This stops with me. This behavior that I see in my mom and my grandmother and her mom, it stops with me. I can see that it needs to improve. And I was able to then, implement some things and change that. So this is the kind of energy right now. We are sensing something's wrong and we can correct it, right? There's also one thing to keep in mind is that this is sometimes what you sense that it's incorrect. It could be a matter of personal taste, a personal opinion. It might be incorrect for you, but it might be correct for the other person. So we need to make sure that we don't really jump into confrontations, because it could be a very judgy energy, and especially if you're not, maybe you're not familiar, you don't have it in your chart, or you're experiencing it this week like really potently, you might feel like there's a lot of judgment coming at you, and I think we're going to talk about this, as well today, because it can be really confrontational time right now. But it's only that, it's only that a matter of opinions. I think the Earth in Gate 17 is a gate of opinions. That's going to add the black and white um, flavor to our confrontations if that happens. But just the advice here is just instead of being so blamey to yourself or to others, be softer and kinder. This is the awareness. You can now know what needs to be adjusted, what needs to be tuned up, what needs to be changed, and you can make changes later. This is, I think it's really wonderful energy. Anita, how are you experiencing this transit so far?
Yeah, this one is a real toughie for me because it is very judgmental energy. And it's the energy that is about us learning what our own opinions are. What's a yes for us with, despite what the tribe is saying, despite what family or community are saying. So there's a place where if I can be okay with my yes, I will grow. I will grow into a mature adult. If I'm not, if I need to hold my tribe or my family values true, if I identifying with them as being mine as well, that it's a really stuck place for people. We never break free from the tribe. It's like keeping up with the Joneses. They did it this way, so I must do it this way, right? And it's all the comparison, criticism, energy. When I'm doing projects and I am coming up with creative stuff that I know is mine, that I know is deeply channeled, when I'm struggling with it, I check the transits to see is that gate 18 activated? Because that's where and it's not even my own criticism of myself sometimes. It can be an energy of complaining, an energy of criticism that is prevalent in the community. You just have to turn on the television and see, because if I have to be right, does someone else have to be wrong? Or can I just be right in my own space? So there's a few different things that we need to watch for here. Number one, to break free of the low end of this energy, or the criticism, or the feeling inferior in this energy, is where are you making yourself wrong based on someone else's opinion? Okay, this is very key, because if you want to manifest your own thing and it's not what you've grown up with, this is where you'll feel like you're walking into an invisible brick wall, right? So where am I making other opinions more important than my own? Where am I accepting criticism from people who I wouldn't even ask for advice? Right? Very important. The other thing is, where am I striving and feel like I'm never arriving because I've set up this unattainable perfection state that is unattainable, right? And the other thing is, you know, never being perfect enough. The fear here is that
Mm.
it won't be perfect. And so there's a difference between understanding that things can always be improved and understanding that that's not a black and white state. That's a gray area that moves with you, that you grow. But if you need to be right, you're not open to growth. So to help people overcome this energy, what I say is, and it's really funny, they'll come in and they'll sit down, obviously in the Zoom screen opposite me, and I'll say, oh, well, I did this and I did all the shoulds, right? I did all the things that I should do, and it's just not working. And I'm making myself wrong, Anita. And I'm there, you know what? You don't have to do that. Is it okay to accept that it's not working for you? Is it okay to accept that this might work for someone else, but not for you? And how you develop your own way is by connecting with your decision strategy and your yes to what will work differently, right? So for me as an entrepreneur starting out, this was cruelty. This was cruel to me, because I'd go to these, I was a 5'1". I would go to these seminars, I'd talk to these marketing experts, these business experts, and they would say, no, just make this your own. And I'm kind of looking at them and I was there, what the hell is that? What is my own? I don't know what my own is, right? It's only since I encountered human design that I learned, oh, this is how I develop my criteria. And with this energy, the gold in this is, when the expert walks into the room, the machine is broken and the expert knows exactly where to go to correct, right? This is the
That's
beauty
it.
of it. exactly where to go, and they charge 10 grand, and the factory manager is kind of going, but you were only here 5 minutes. And the person with this energy says, well, look, it's not about the time, it's about knowing exactly where to go to correct this in a way that it's optimally beneficial. So this is what Juliet has consistently in her. This is how we can use this energy consistently. And it is attached to the spleen area, which is survival fears. So for me, I can take in and amplify people's insecurities around not being perfect, or I can recognize that and kind of go, ooh, that's not mine. I can actually, borrow this energy. So I work with Juliet, and I would sit there and go, I know Juliet is going to be able to select what needs to be corrected in my marketing thing. And that's what we do. That's what she does. It's really cool, right? And I do it with others when they're in their perfectionism, because some people say, I'm just a perfectionist. That's it. There's nothing I can do about it. And I will say, no, yeah, you do have perfectionist tendencies in your chart for sure, but you can work them in your favor. Instead of saying, is that right or wrong? You can say, well, what works? What will bring more flow? What will bring more magnetism? What will bring more aliveness to your work, to whatever you're trying to correct? And it is a mind thing. So we are correcting beliefs, opinions.
Hmm.
We're correcting a mindset of blame and judgment and comparing rather than and recognizing I can actually learn from people, by comparing. I would have, I'll just give one more example, because this is such a beautiful energy in one way and such a crap energy in another. I remember going to different teachers when I was younger, and I have Gemini energy as well. So the need to be right is like ingrained in me. Right? It's ingrained. I'll just put my hand up and say that. But I would go to the teacher and I go, oh, they're useless teachers. Oh my God. Really, what I'm recognizing is I'm not going to teach that way. That's not my teaching style. So I needed to be clear with myself that I'm showing up to a class or a course because of what I want to learn from it, not to criticize the teacher or compare what they're doing to what I might do in a negative way. It's to say, oh, I want to see how these people are doing it and see how it'll resonate with me, with my yes. And it opened me up to a whole new way of learning. Now, the third thing that can really consolidate this is my defined head and ajna. Because often with the defined head and ajna, we're designed to be certain.
Hmm.
But if what we're certain about isn't true, this energy can play havoc. Okay, we can be in that place where
That's
we're,
it.
so, and that's really all I have to say about this energy. Instead of ask what's wrong, ask where can I bring more flow? And instead of saying, recognizing the frustration of this energy, like it's not working for me, instead of our bitterness, kind of go, well, hang on a second, maybe it doesn't work for me. Maybe I need to just see what brings more flow for me and recognize that, while we've learned in our communities how to express other people's opinions, not ours, um, maybe it's time for me to grow up and have my own opinion on this and make sure that it's clean, not emotionally charged, right?
I love this. I love this. You know what? It's a really interesting conversation today because we're experiencing this energy from completely two different, like almost parallel dimensions. I'm a splenic. This is my authority. Spleen is defined. This is one of the gates that is defined on my spleen. This is a lot of energy in what I communicate to the world. And I have a lot to say about talking about correction. There's a lot of human design experts out there in marketing who say, use your Mercury energy to create your offers. And I can tell you this, I am so good at auditing. And yes, I instinctually sense when somebody's off track. This is exactly the beauty and the gift of this. Oh, how can you make it more efficient? Then the projector thing kicks in with all the efficiency and systems. But it's a very now I'm having a Juliette Stapleton moment where blank mind happened, and but it's gonna come back. So, but the experiencing of this is very very different because it's very set and it's natural to me. The themes that you just described, Anita, are like a parallel dimension to me because this is very interesting when you're talking about definition and openness. Oh, yes, this is what I had a Juliette Stapleton moment about what I forget. The Mercury, right? The Mercury, when I tried to create offers around all the good things that I'm in terms of improving and correction, do you think I made any sales? No, because it's not about make taking that information and using it in your offers on your messaging, but it really is what's going to shine through what you do. So it's much more about your own empowerment.
Yeah.
And this is how I'm correcting with my gate 18, this whole thing about how to use human design in your marketing, for example, or your messaging, for example. Don't take things so literally.
Yeah.
Human design is an empowerment tool. Empower yourself. Then it doesn't matter what words you're using in, whatever planet your, sun is, or whatever, what's going on in the chart in these words that between us, some humans gave you, right? So it might not be your even words, those definitions of the gates, of the channels, of the planets. So you can use your own voice, but what it gives you is this awareness. And what we're doing here is also giving you the awareness. There are some themes that are activated right now. You can either, it's like waves, in the ocean. You can either learn to surf, or you can surrender and float. That's another way to deal with it, right? Or you can
Mm.
fight it, and then you will definitely get, overtaken by the waves.
That's a very good point, because what happens is people get stuck in fighting with the opinions. So I want to do it this way, but they're saying this. So, who do they think they are or whatever, right? So we're in the fight the whole time instead of growth. And
Exactly.
there was a point I was going to make, and actually, oh yeah, I have it again. This energy has been activated in the nodes since July this year. The nodes have been activating Aries and Libra for the last 12 months at least. And so it's very much a relationship energy. How can I be myself and have my own opinions within a relationship? Does my relationship allow me to do that? I remember talking to someone a while ago, and I was there. I had a different opinion to them, and they were older, and they said, "Do you mean we have different opinions and we're not arguing?" And I was here, of course I do. We all prefer different tea. We all have different preferences. And it's just to realize that when you are being super judged, when people are being judgmental with you, not to take it personally either. But we will all be feeling this, and it's not going away until probably January or February next year. So this energy is Aries, Libra is going to be activated here. And this particular energy, let me see. Yeah, it's all the way out to December. Oh, it's changing in December, actually. So it's all the way out for the rest of the year. So use this energy not to criticize, make people wrong, get into battle with people's opinions and ways of doing things. Accept that it's not for you. Can you be okay with that? Accept it's not for you and reestablish your world of, remember, an opinion is just a point of view, and a belief is a point of view you agree with. So just remember that you need to maybe look at your opinions and your judgments and see, are they are they shutting down your joy? Are they cramping your style? Are they, this can be a life-sucking experience in this judgment world,
I
right?
I actually have a personal story to share, just fits exactly into that. So,
Oh, brilliant.
as a lot of my followers know, last year, 2023, was a terrible year for me. I speak about horrible things in a very, as a matter of fact, ways. I just realized. My second husband, Les, had cancer and passed away. It was the worst experience in my life. The humor in my line 3 is now really shining by like kind of dancing around this, but it was very traumatic. But Les had this gate 18 in his chart, and he was a very overpowering person because he had also the 17 activated. So for him, it was his opinion. And if you disagree with his opinion, it's not that he's going to necessarily fight you, although sometimes he would. Uh, but you will just feel it. You will feel it so much that it would be, for me, it was easier not to do and not to push and not to, because it wasn't even an open fight. It was just like such thick atmosphere of judgment, you could cut through it with a knife. That's how it felt. And
Yeah.
in a way, for many, many years, it was a 20-year relationships. In a way, I stepped back very soon and I even lost part of my identity because I didn't want to confront that judgmental energy of my partner, of someone who was in my aura all the time, right? And it took me then, in my 40s, I started in a way what I see looking back as fighting for my identity. And I started physically changing back to what I was before we met, even my like hairstyle. And then I started my online business. And it's in essence, it was all about claiming back my power. That's what I see now. And it's really, really interesting about this energy in its shadow. And I'm not saying Les was a wonderful person, but look, we all have our conditioning. And this was one of his wounds where the judgment and self-criticism, I'm sure, and self-blame, I'm sure, but also, using that as a weapon. This is very typical 3-5 behavior, by the way. So this is something I've experienced. And then the last 2 years with loss of him, and then, things were happening so massively fast in the front of my relationships. And maybe this is, the Libra is to blame in a way, in a good way, because I met someone else who was very special in my life and I married him. He also has this gate 18, but he has the whole channel. But it's a different kind of dynamics. And here's where the opinions and, and us being, he's in his mid 50s, I'm in late 40s, we're fully formed people. So for us to start new relationships, that's not like starting relationships when you were younger and you just, sort of like go ahead with things. You want to stand your grounds. Well, I want to stand my ground. I'm so used to, I'm not so used to, but I know now that I had to fight back previous times. So I'm kind of like feeling like I'm fighting now before any overpowering can possibly happen. Well, Jim is a different person, so he's not overpowering at all. In fact, he's really, really lovely person in that respect, holding space for me. But this is this energy, and this is where I am catching myself now thinking, okay, let's not be critical. How can we take the old pattern, recognize, because I recognize it in myself as well. I recognize that there is a lot of old behavior that is just like a skin peeling,
Yeah.
off you. And you're able to admit it, even the weaknesses, even things that you don't like about yourself that are highlighted now by a different person in the same role that you are used to confront all the time, right? And how can we grow from that? By the way, very important thing I wanted to say, this week, this energy, it can also highlight anything wrong with your health and anything that needs to be adjusted. And this is really interesting. So whatever, if anything bothers you, do the research or, get a checkup if you need to. It's better to know than not know.
Mhm.
Trust me, because you might find out that something you're really afraid of is actually nothing really special. I can give you like a really funny anecdote about this. So the last few days, I, I started noticing that my feet are very dry. My skin on the feet is very dry. And it just started very suddenly. And I can't understand. I'm doing, all the scrubbing and it's still peeling and peeling and peeling. And I'm thinking, heck, menopause. Went googling, what's going on, why are my feet so dry? Oh my god, it could be the sign of this and the sign of this, and this needs to be checked and this needs to be checked. And I'm like, oh my god, I started looking so old and I feel so like I'm making all these things up. And again, then the gate 18 comes in and reveals what actually happens. So last week, for the first time in my life, I tried a foot peel mask. Something you put over your feet for an hour and then you wash it off. But the way it works is it doesn't go peeling straight away. It peels after 5-7 days. I didn't even know. So this is the kind of revelation that can happen to do with your health. I went through 360. I started taking my vitamins again. I kind of fell off the wagon. I kind of really got into, okay, I need to look after my health because of that little thing. So this is in a way, again, something is coming into your awareness, right, through whatever way, and then this energy helps you see how can it be fixed, how can it be improved, what needs needs to be addressed. So don't hesitate if you are feeling something. You might find that this is nothing and you're looking into a scary area where all you need to do is, I don't know, wait. Or you might reveal something that does need addressing now before it becomes worse. So just I thought that it will be important. We're only in a second day of this.
Yeah, that's a brilliant example because it does, you do become obsessed with the details, obsessed with what's right, and then blow things out of proportion and then, get into the whole blame game. But when you're in that, you're missing the point.
Yes.
You're missing the whole point when you can take your mental hands off it and just see, hang on, my feet are doing this. What will bring them back to, normal for me? What will and that's kind of part of this energy. It is based on material, mental, and emotional boundaries, right? So material, this is where people can shoot themselves in the foot prosperity wise. Oh, it
Oh,
never
totally. Yes.
never happened to me before, it won't happen again. And exactly as you're saying, but as long as I'm playing that record, I'm getting that result in my life. So it's really superb. Instead of looking at it going, ooh, I need to correct this. Instead of saying, oh, this is bad, this is good, oh no, Google, get the worst case scenario. Just go, I wonder how I can correct this without needing to the judgment or any of it, and recognizing that that's good judgment. That's
Mm.
that's where judgment is a superpower, where I can look at what's going on, as you say, warts and all, and kind of go, okay, what needs to happen to bring more flow here? And now the judgment isn't emotionally driven or fear driven, or it's more, well, I need to see what's not working so that I can determine what will work differently. And it's beautiful. It's a really powerful energy, actually.
It really is. I also want to, before we wrap up, I also want to say that in terms of, for example, marketing and messaging and business, in terms of actual like practical looking in, seeing what can be improved, what can be realigned, what can be it doesn't have to be. It's not the energy of a storm that goes in and like like I don't know, tsunami wave goes in and everything now has to start from scratch. It's not about this at all, but it's really good. Your mind is very sharp. I kind of feel like sometimes during Mercury retrogrades, I feel like this real mental clarity. So this last 2 days since the transit started, I am so mentally clear. And, I'm writing the second book and I already created the vision part of this book, just talked it out, on the video. But yesterday, when this transit started, the energy of like, okay, how can we improve this? How can we add more practical side? How can we add this? And I spent the whole day just, putting ideas on paper. And I think that I wrote this book. I wrote half another book that's potentially can come out. I wrote something else that can be potentially coming out. And it doesn't need to be finished. It's just to put it out there because all these great ideas on how can things be improved? How can you take a concept and dial it in and take it to the next level? And it's a real calm, in a way, energy of audit or just like a judgment, but evaluation, judgment as in evaluation more than judgment as in emotion. So just like watch out of this, but you can leverage this. So whatever projects you have out, that are waiting for you or out there, go back into those projects, see what needs to be recreated, talk it out with someone, with your mentor, with your partner. Talk it out loud to see. And maybe even yesterday I was talking to my husband Jim, and he had this idea for promoting his book, and as he was talking I could straight away feel, because this energy is coming in. It's not just my natural innate gift of correcting, but the energy is helping. I'm like, no, don't do that. Instead, do that. This is what will make sense, and here's why. It's just all comes to you. So it's really interesting
Can I
to
just say one
leverage
more?
this.
Yeah, can I just?
Yes.
It's fantastic because, okay, so what I'm thinking as you're saying that is you can use this energy or harness this energy this week to question where you are stuck. What will bring me more flow here? What detail will bring me more flow? So look at where you're stuck, really stuck, and kind of go, okay, well, maybe I'm holding opinions and stuff, and I can use this energy to break through that stuckness. It'll be a place where you're experiencing a judgment, where you're comparing yourself to someone else, where you potentially have imposter syndrome, and you are literally so bring it back. So let's pinpoint for me, please. Highlight, because this is going to be in the eclipse next week. Highlight what needs to be changed, because I know not everything needs to go. Just a couple of things are tying me up here. Sorry, I just wanted to say that because I was
Yeah,
like,
this is really good. This is really
yeah,
good. And I will add to that as well, because we have the grounding energy from gate 17, the gate of opinions. Here's what I've noticed yesterday as I was writing. It was really, it felt very aligned to use that and jump into my opinion.
yeah,
Versus trying to recreate some sort of like generic truth thing. And this is always, I've been always, in the last, since I'm, involved in human design and marketing, this is what I practice and I preach, right? Follow your own opinions, follow what you have to say. And I felt like this is right now, this energy gives you the empowerment to see what needs to change. And you can talk about this in your content. So it's a potential amazing time to creating pieces of art, like articles, videos, pieces of content, books about what you see that needs to be improved and what's your opinion on how this needs to be improved. No matter how black and white this opinion might be, own it that this is your opinion. This is how thought leadership exists, because we're leading with our opinions. And it's really amazing energy because you're charged with your opinion, right? And when you're charged, that's the magnetic stuff. So when you're writing or talking, being charged up, that's when you're becoming magnetic. That's when you allow your true voice to come out without overthinking. That is a beautiful, beautiful nuance about this energy.
it's amazing because with that as well, as a 5-1, people we've learned to outsource, we've learned to research. What is this person saying? What's that person saying? And then trying to coordinate those opinions. So bringing your own opinion through, as you say, that's why it's so important because you can get stuck in the other people's
That's right. And
opinion.
you can forget what's true to you. And that's the
Yeah,
big thing. And at the end of the day, when we are talking, we all want to attract our ideal client. And what one thing, and this is me now correcting and improving out loud, right? One thing that we are not, like one step further that we're not taking is we're not realizing that the ideal people are people who agree with us, on
yeah,
top of everything else, on top of that, they need what we have and they're looking for our assistance and they want access to us because of whatever innate gifts we're bringing to the table. But it's also because they agree with us. That means that if you express your opinion, no matter how black and white it can be, those people who agree with you, they will self-identify. They will be the ones that show up like they are your correct people. They're open to your guidance. They're open to your light, right? So it's a good thing
yeah.
to have this
That,
courage.
that's so true because, part of what I do is I'm not teaching you my way of manifesting or creating results. I'm teaching you your way. So when I am expressing my opinion as the 5-1, that's a bit scary for me. As that's that particular type, I will say to the other, listen, only take what resonates with you from this because that means I'm allowing you to have your opinion as well as mine. And I'm also clear, I'm not going to argue with you, and I'm not interested in you reinforcing and being right about your opinion. I accept it. And it creates a very healthy dynamic in a relationship if you think about that in that way, whether it's business, whether it's client, and it's an owning of your opinion without needing to impose or be imposed on by the other. Superpower. I think we've transformed this energy already, Juliette.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. Guys, before I let you go, shameless plug. Now, for the first time ever, we can see Anita's book behind her. Just look at that middle shelf, right? And we have the book. It's called How Do I Know? It's available on Amazon with all Amazons, right? How Do I Know? Anita King. You have to get that book. It's all about decision making and absolutely brilliant, right? So I'm so happy and I wanted to highlight that. So if you adore explore what Anita is saying on these transit videos, go and grab her book, reach out to her. And, this is the path to get closer into her inner world. And of course, I have mine here on marketing and human design. And if you like, the way I'm expressing things, this is only, obviously, we don't go into gates. And this is why the transit videos are created. So we can, go a little bit deeper into how these gates are experienced and give you like a little insight. But again, this is not, you don't have to fit yourself into this. It's only about being aware what's happening so you can then make your own decisions. If you don't know how, read Anita's book, right? So that's the shameless plug done. We will see you on the next episode of Transits and Tactics. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.